Okay, we're recording. Did anybody try to make phone calls on expireds this week? We learned some good information, but we didn't put it into action. Okay. I'm going to challenge you guys from now until the next time we meet. Make some FSBOs and make some expireds. Now again, whether they're expireds that just expired or you're going back in the system and you're finding the ones that expired back in the day, 2, 3, 4 months ago, and those still haven't sold yet. So you do need to, so you go into the MLS, you do a search, and in the search, instead of hitting active, you're going to hit expired. And then you're going to give it a time frame. I want to see all the properties that expired 6 months ago. Then you're going to get a list of properties, and you're going to click on the property, and you're going to find out by clicking on the days on market, what is the history of that property. And if it still doesn't look like it's sold, because ultimately you don't want to call them expired and say, hey, are you still on the market? And they go, no, I sold a couple days ago, or I sold 2 months ago. Find a pattern. I like to click on the little days on market, pops up, and then it gives me a history like this was active, then it went expired, then it went active again, and then it went sold. And that means that that property is no longer an expired. Makes sense? Just double check to make sure you're calling on the ones. Then you're going to reach out to them and ask, are you still in the market for sales? Are you still in the market to sell? What caused, and that's where you start your scripts, and there's scripts in here. So right here, under scripts, you find the expired scripts, and they're going to have qualifying questions, such as, why do you think your house didn't sell? When you sell, where will you be moving? You're trying to get them excited about the idea of selling again. And then ultimately you're converting them to, well, the market has changed from the time you did try to sell versus now. If you were able to sell and get you the price that you wanted, is that still an option for you? Ultimately, that's a yes/no question. Kind of try to get away from those. Like, if I'm able to get you the price that you want and in the time frame you wanted, where would you end up moving? That's an open-ended question. They go, oh, well, I'd want to move to AG to get into the village. I've always wanted to be there, yada, yada, yada. Now you can build off of the way they talk. They said, oh, I want to move to AG. So when you go to close on them, you're going to say, so ultimately, if I'm able to get you to AG in the next 60 days, why don't we go ahead and list your property so I can see if I can start bringing you new offers for the top dollar and sell in the time frame that you wanted. Okay, so we're going back to 13. So I'm going to challenge everybody. I want 10 people that you're going to talk to.
10 contacts.
10 contacts by Friday. By Friday that you're going to make a contact with.
Okay.
Where's your comfort level at? I'm going to give you the same thing.
Yeah,
10. 10, and then you guys can talk to each other and be like, where are you at? Did you hit your 10? No, I want 20 out of you. Okay. You have your scripts down. You know what to do. These are either FSBOs or expires. Okay? And if you're like, I can't find FSBOs, you're not looking hard enough. Start Googling FSBO websites. Zillow is really burned out, but try territories that aren't just the 5 cities. Like try Paso, because most people have tried this 5 cities, and you're like, I know Cole's on there, and you're like, hey, and he goes, hey, I'm an agent here, and you guys start laughing. But push yourself out to Santa Maria or Lompoc. Push yourself outside of territories that you're not even used to, just to get the feel of doing it. And if you get a hook, then you can refer them an agent and make a 25% referral. And you might not get the listing, but at least you're getting a comfort level, because there might not be enough people to call around this territory. But keep in mind, a referral business is still a business. So if you're like, man, I've called everybody in our territory, then pick a different territory, start calling those people, and hook them together with a good agent, and go for the referral. At the end of the day, you just need to get on the phone and get better on the phone. So don't hold back on the phone because you don't have enough people to call. Think outside the box on that. But at that point, it at least makes it worth your while. 12, okay, 13. So, breakout exercise, role play. So again, okay. All right, let's try one thing of role playing as far as Or just, it's not set up. That's what script reading in the morning is for. It's more role playing. Things you need to know about telephone solicitation. So if these people were expireds, you do need to go to the, so ultimately you can print it on the MLS. So you get on the MLS, you do your search, and here's your criteria. You have 25 people that were expired back in the day. There is an export button on that on the bottom. Or just go to the do not call registry, type in do not call registry in Google. It'll pull up a website. You're going to go to the expired person. You're going to find their name. In their name, you can do two things. You can log into Mojo and put their address in Mojo. And in Mojo, it'll kick back a phone number if that phone number's there. You can go to whitepages.com. You can put their address in whitepages.com. It might kick you back a phone number. You can go to Facebook and type their first name in Facebook. And it's going to kick you back a list of everybody in Facebook that has that name. And then you're cross-referencing the address, city, versus what's in Facebook. So, oh, this person lives in Grover Beach, and the property I'm calling on is Grover Beach. The person in Facebook is probably that person that owns the property. Does that make sense? Now, when you click on, it doesn't make sense?
I've never had any luck reaching out to people over Facebook.
Ah, okay. Now, if you click on their name, it's going to pull up a little username URL in the top. If you take that username, and everybody try it on your own Facebook, you take that username, that URL, and you put it at facebook.com, you now have access to their email. So if you send an email to the username at facebook.com, it's going to reroute to the email that they have on file with Facebook. So ultimately, it will drop an email into their Gmail account. If you can't find their phone number or anything like that, that's at least. Now you're going to put together a nice little marketing piece of a letter that talks about, hey, your house tried to expire, or I have potential buyers. I get calls all day long from buyers. Have you ever considered selling your house? And you're going to put that on a campaign, and you're going to start sending emails to these expireds. You're building a campaign right now. You're building a farm. Make sense? Or you can drop a quick message in Facebook. This is where you can't say, I saw that you were expired on the MLS. You can say, I saw that I remember that your house was on the market back in the day and it's no longer on the market. Are you considering selling, or would you consider selling again? You can't say, I saw that your house was expired. We're trying to get away from that concept. But I remember that your house was for sale. Are you still interested in selling your property? Nothing wrong with that. Just asking the question. You can follow up with a call to action that talks about, from when you tried to sell your property to now, prices have changed. There's a couple new systems that came on board that are with technology. Technology is changing all day long. Let me show you how technology can help you sell your property. So ultimately, you want to make sure that they're just not on the do not call list. You do want to scrub that phone number. On the MLS, you're not going to get the phone number. You're going to have a very difficult time getting the phone number on the MLS. So you're going to get the address and the name of the owner. And you have to take that name of the owner and cross-reference it. There's companies like Spokio. It's 99 cents if you want it. I think it's $10. There's a cost on a monthly or annual basis. They're a little bit better than White Pages. White Pages, if you get the Premier account, again, it's an annual fee. A couple bucks to get the annual fee, and then you can just type their address in and it kicks you out a phone number.
It's not really expensive one. It gives you a nice.
There are tons of cross-reference or cell phone numbers on Google and see what comes back. The one I'm using, like I said, I use the Facebook thing. On Facebook, look to see if you have mutual friends. So if you click on there and all of a sudden you have a mutual friend, now you have a reason to reach out to another party and say, hey, I'm doing some research and I saw that there was a house for sale, but I can't seem to get a hold of that number. It looks like you're a friend of theirs. Do you think you can drop my name, or can you pass me over their contact information? I have some questions I want to answer them that look like they wanted to sell back in the day and they didn't. If you guys are mutual friends, most of your friends will be like, oh, sure, no problem. Or they'll at least say, oh, I'll reach out to the client for you. I'll say, well, would you mind shooting me an email, or can you CC me on the email? because now you have that contact information too, and then you're doing the follow-up. Say, you know, my follow-up tends to be a little bit different. Obviously, if I'm friends with you, you see how my follow-up is. I'm not aggressive, but I do have some important information, just trying to get some mailing address and contact so I can get in touch with them. If you want me to succeed, right, go ahead and get me that number. I just want that one phone number from you. Don't ask for a lot, but that would help my business tremendously. So I have seen that, like you guys are Facebook friends, you didn't even know you were Facebook friends. Everybody somehow has a web, so look at that if they're Facebook friends or not, and then try that angle. Okay, that talks about the do not call. What about a call made to a place of business? So if you're calling on businesses, if you're on Facebook and you find out they work over at blah, 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 calling, soliciting a business is not something that you have to check the do not call list on. You should have a really good reason why you're going there. It's a little stalker if you just show up. But again, if you have a mutual way or you have a reason to be there, oh my God, you show up, you're at the place of business, you're there to do business for some other reason, and you just happen to chat with her, and that's on the back of your mind, like, oh my God, I've been actually meaning to talk with you. I remember you had a property on the market back in the day, didn't you? And now you have a face-to-face with her. Well, I don't want to bother you at work. Tell you what, what's a good time to give you a call? I just had a couple questions about your property, whether you're interested in selling or not. Just had a couple questions. When's a good time I can talk to you? You're having to work for that business, but eventually once you get that contact information, then you can be sending them information. Hey, the market is changing, prices have changed, prices have dropped, like now's a good time to sell, yada, yada, yada. And it's a relationship that you're starting to build. That makes sense? This is all do not call, do not call. What if, as a real estate agent, I want to call someone who referred me? Unless otherwise exempt, you cannot call someone who referred. So you really need to know the do not call list. So even if someone said, hey, I want you to call this person, you have to make sure they're not on the do not call list. You can send an email out or something like that, but that call solicitation, especially if you're trying to sell something. Now, if you're trying to sell something, which you're selling your service, you just want to make sure that they're not. And if they are, then go a different route. Go through the Facebook, go through the email, go through the friend that referred you and go back through them. But just double check. The last thing you want is someone to go or get the okay from the friend or get the okay from them saying, yeah, a good time to call is 9 to 11, yada, yada, yada. So when they put that stuff in realtor.com or in Google and it says when's a good time to call, even if they're on the do not call list, we have authorization to call them because they reached out asking for our services. So the leads that you get from the company, those are okay to call back because those people somehow are engaging us first. Anytime you get a lead that comes in that says this person requested information on this, that gives you authorization to call if they're on it. They reached out to us through some form of communication. It's us doing this cold calling that we're farming out. That's what we got to be careful on. But so you got 10, you got 10, you got 20. We're doing that by Friday. And then you can have the bragging rights for whoever gets the escrow first, whoever gets the listing first. You want a challenge? She's already doing her calls, so. What's your challenge? Well, Noah's doing 20 calls, expireds or FSBOs. So if you're in FSBOs or expireds, if you're in that pipeline right now, you push yourself. You guys should be. So I heard you're about to do some door knocking or Popeyes. Mm-hmm. Every challenge that you have, think of your sphere of influence as nonstop. Linda has a sphere. Noah's starting to build a sphere. Everybody has a sphere of influence. That pipeline is always active. You're always doing something for that pipeline. If you're not, like you just did your announcement letter, you should start thinking about what am I doing as a follow-up. You had about 12 comments on there. Each one of those 12 people should be getting a thank you letter or some sort of form of communication. If they're the older generation, they love the thank you letters. Younger generation, they don't even know what mail is anymore. Like Facebook and social media is the way they communicate. So you could do something cool like, do an animated GIF of you just sold and say, oh my God, I appreciate appreciate it, and send that as a private message to them. It's one more little thing that pops up in their head that you are a realtor. And have realtor come across the screen or something like that. I mean, you can do that sort of stuff in like 30 seconds. It's all the apps and things like that. You can literally go through your Facebook and send that to every single person, and you would get as a private message so they don't think that you're doing it. Or, I appreciate the fact you're supporting me in my business venture. That is a non-aggressive, no solicitation, but you will get a PM back that says, oh my God, of course I would support you. You're my friend. Great. And once they respond back, awesome. So who do you know that I can reach out to right now today to, that have you heard of anyone in the business or in the real estate industry that's looking for services? Awesome. Thank you for the support.
And then also that they'll run into like 7 people this year or something like that.
Yeah. As a supporter in my business, do you mind if I lean on you 3 times a year for 3 referrals this year? Before the end of the year, I have 99 days left until the end of the year, and I'm trying to maximize my profit. I'm trying to maximize the exposure I have. Can I lean on you to get me 3 numbers of people from now until the end of the year? If you can do that, let me take you out for coffee and show my appreciation. That would really help me in growing my business. As you know, it's very competitive, and your support means everything to me. That is 100% put it all on them, and they don't want to fail you. They won't. They're your friends. They will do what they can to help you. Time and time again, that's how you get referrals from your friends, just because you ask. But you ask like, hey, can you send me a referral? No. Can you support me? Can you go through your phone? Can you think of anybody? Let's take 5 minutes and just jot our memory right now. Who's the last person you talked to about real estate? And I will promise you, they have somebody that they talked to about real estate. Man, my neighbor just put up the house and freaking, it's killing our prices. That's a conversation about real estate. So you can use that. But give yourself a challenge. Like, I want to do my whole entire Facebook PM. I want to do everybody. And it's the same message that goes out that you're going to private message them. That way they not see that you're doing this to every single person. That's another little campaign that you can do. Cheesy stuff that I did, once you find someone, you can start having fun with it. Once you find someone that's like, well, I'm on the fence whether I want to list my house or not, send them something fun in the mail. I did that cheesy thing where I put socks in a letter today. I was asking, well, how did you know that the bank, I'm ultimately going to lose this transaction if I don't win the bank. And so I know that the transaction went to the bank. I know that I'm just no one on their list. I need to stand out. And emailing and phone calls I'm getting blocked at the receptionist. So I have to stand out. I put together a letter. It says, what I say, I hope, give me the opportunity and I'll knock your socks off. And I shoved a bunch of baby socks in there. And I sent it to him. And I guarantee she will respond to my email as, that was pretty cute. We're in the process of picking our agent. We'll keep you informed. Something along those lines, but at least I'll get a freaking response to let me know that I'm on their radar now. That's where you can start getting creative. And you can type in Google, creative marketing ideas for clients. And you'll get stuff like,
Prime to Be has cute ones all the time for Popeyes.
Popeyes, yeah.
Easter, they have the marshmallows and have your peeps called my peeps.
Your peeps, these are
I'm
cute.
doing something really cute.
Yeah.
I'm making caramel apple mason jars and putting the recipe on a card. It says for a transaction that's sweet and never sticky, call me.
See, that's cute. That's your sphere of influence. Make sure, your call to action. When you do that, you need to have a follow-up call as well. Oh my God, how'd the recipe go? How'd everything go? That's awesome. So hey, you know how important it is that you're supporting my business right now. Can you think of 3 people? Can you think of 1 person that ultimately I'm trying, and just tell them bluntly, I'm trying to build my sphere of influence. I'm trying to network with people that are trying to do real estate transactions. In order for me to do that, I'm leaning on you as support. Can you think of anybody? And I'll reach out to you again in 3 months And when you do get that person, so they give you a referral, you end up, hey, this is Mackenzie, I'm friends with so-and-so. They had mentioned to me that you might be in the market for real estate right now. I had just dropped off some fruit over there and we were talking. And it was really fun, it was cute, and it was a great idea. And then she happened to mention your name, and I just wanted to reach out and introduce myself. I'd like to mail you some marketing material to show you what I do. Where's a good place I can mail you? And then you're following up with that cute recipe again, and now you've captured another sphere of influence. But again, it's all with the follow-up. Again, you can't just do it once and think that you got it. You've got to follow up with, oh, I sent you the stuff in the mail. Did you get it? Excellent. And every time you're asking for either business or is there anything I can do for you? You're a service provider. Okay, this is all do not call. God, he did like 7 pages on do not call. Okay, so here's at the end of this, it's sample scripts. So if you're calling on expired, I think the best, a good approach for expireds is really taking a little bit of time to figure out if you have a mutual connection. And Facebook is a great way to do that. Is anybody using Instagram? Okay. I'm starting to hear that Instagram is becoming a good way to communicate for agents as well. It's like similar to a Facebook. I don't use it, I don't know anything about it, but I am starting to hear through my coach that more and more people are communicating with Instagram. What are you finding? Are you using it for real estate?
I haven't used it for real estate.
Yeah, I got more comments on my Instagram than my Facebook because I did both of them. And
Okay.
then I created a fake or Instagram filter account.
Okay.
And I got like 60 followers in 2 days.
Okay. So you might start looking into that as far as another source of communication. There's programs out there called Hootsuite. It's a free program, but ultimately you can post one time, and that post will go to 3 social media sites. So ultimately you can start running your social media through Hootsuite instead of having to jump on all these social media sites. Or MySpace. Is MySpace even around anymore?
I don't think so.
Okay. So check it out, it's called Hootsuite, and then you can set it up with 3 automated posts. People are getting charged for this stuff, but you go to like NAR, and NAR gives you a feed, and you can tie that feed into Hootsuite, and so that automatically comes from NAR, and then from Hootsuite it goes out to 3 sources, and you can tell it I want to post twice a day, once a week, but at least you'll get some sort of automation going as a post. Things like NAR, Inman you got to be careful with because they're kind of negative towards agents sometimes, if you've ever read their posts. Inman News. Realtor.com has some really good, and they have a feed as well. So you pick 1, maybe 2 feeds, and then find a feed that's relevant to you, recipe, something, and you can start automating that. So at least something is going on your social media site once a day.
Will that gentleman, is his name Dan, be able to help me with that stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know a guy around here, Michael Ferris. He gets on his Hootsuite, and once a month he sets up a daily quote of the day. And he's never missed a beat, and everybody's like, how do you freaking do that? Every day at 6 a.m. you have a daily quote that shows up, and it's his quote with his line right there. And all he does is like, I log into Hootsuite once a month, and I set my whole calendar up, and every day a daily quote goes out with mine, and then he asks, and then he asks for the business. But he's now, his followers wait for his quote because they have inspirational quotes every day that he picks and he does it, and then automated, it happens automatic. And he's been doing it for like he's been doing it for as long as I know, but he's never missed a day. And so that shows, that's great.
I'd like to see what he's doing. What did you say?
His name is Michael Ferris. He's an insurance provider locally here for schools. So like a school insurance provider. And he has a daily quote of the day. Rip off and duplicate. Go back his Facebook, find all the quotes he's done, and just follow him a month behind. He does it with or 2, yeah. Okay, so these are the expired stuff. So expireds and FSBOs. Where's another good source that you can go get FSBOs for sale by owners? Craigslist is a good resource. You're going to find some scammers on there, so you got to have your cautions, got to have your red flags up. type in forsalebyowner.com. These are all for sale sites. I would Google for sale by owner, real estate, and see what pops up. The Tribune, you're going to get a lot of people that think newspaper ads are the way to go. And so pulling the Tribune and going online. So you go online and go to their for sale department and then hit real estate, and it's going to show you all this real estate stuff that goes on, and you can find the for sale by owner there. There are scripts in here for sale by owner. Under scripts, for sale by owner. Again, these are good, just overall general topics of what to ask. You start out by finding out why they chose for sale. You start off by asking them about the property and why they love the property, and yada yada. And then sometime in that conversation, you start converting to, why didn't you pick an agent? And then you convert to, well, let me show you what I can do to help you get more money than what you're doing right now, to help you expose your house more than now. And ultimately, I need to come by and look at your house because I work the market, and as buyers call me, I need to know about inventory. So you're kind of getting too, they're going to put a defense up like, I don't want to show, I don't want a listing presentation. That's fine. I still want to come by and look at your property.
You gotta go to their renovation.
You got to go to there. That's that conversion of like, you can't start the phone call with, hi, I'm an agent and I want to sell your house. I am an agent and I want to learn about your house. And then I want to learn about what you're doing to expose your house. And then I want to share with you on what I can do to expose it better. And ultimately, I want to have a 15-minute meeting with you to show you this in person. Is it worth 15 minutes of your time if I'm able to make you money by the way that I expose and market your house? At the end of the day, you got to remember, for sale by owners don't have the resources you do to get the house out onto the market. So they might have a portion of the market, but they don't have all the market. And so they're missing potential buyers because buyers don't even know their house existed. And you can lean on them and say, the only reason I know is because I'm experienced to know to go look in the Tribune, because most people think the Tribune is a way, or I found you on a website that I know most for sale by owners go to. And there's some questions in there that like, well, what are you doing to expose your house? No matter what they say, you're always answering with what else. You keep asking what else until they run out of things to say. And that way it makes them go, there's more than what I'm doing. I can be doing more. So that's in the script part right there. Three. So, expireds and for sale by owners. We all have a game plan now for expireds. You go in the MLS, do a search. Do you work expireds heavily?
Not heavily.
No?
No.
Just whenever you're in the mood, or?
People are so mistrusting now, they don't sell phone numbers anymore, but.
Yeah.
So it's, sometimes you don't get the right number when they're using their Joe numbers.
Yeah. You may take a week out of your campaign. If you're finding yourself, what am I doing right now? You may focus a week. Monday, I'm pulling my list. I'm doing my research. Then I'm building a campaign. And on Thursday, I'm going to go hit all these houses. Because ultimately, the best way is always a face-to-face.
I agree.
Yeah. And that is work. That's not going to be, I'm picking up the phone. But if you can go to their house and build an instant rapport, you can ultimately get their information, come back, plug it in, and now you have a follow-up system to send them the pop by, send them the Apple stuff. It's not as efficient as far as time is concerned, but if you can get one, you're getting a solid lead. You're getting a very good lead, and now they've built some rapport with you. So when you call them, they're not, who is this again? That is worth its weight in gold. But it takes a little bit of time to print that list out. You spend one day on doing your research to make sure you're going to houses that are worthwhile, and then put on there, I'm going to go to 25 homes this week.
Oh, and I would just say when you pull that list, check it to make sure that they haven't been put back on the market before you
Yeah, and so the way I check is like I click on the days on market, and it'll tell you the activity that's happened on this house. And you're looking for, did it go from expired to active to sold? So you're reading that history. The next way you could, what's the other way? You can click on the APN number on the MLS and scroll all the way down in Realist, and you can see like the mortgage history and find out when was the last sold date. And if that sold date is past the date that you're looking as the expired, so you're looking June and there was a sold date in August, then it's off market.
I just look at just back in the search, see what comes up as active.
So there's multiple ways, but that is doing 1 day of research. So you have 2 days of door knocking. And this shouldn't be a 2-week campaign. This should be at most 72 hours, and then you're done. So you build your campaign, then you're out.
Your marketing materials.
You get your marketing material. Your marketing materials can be a quick little reference, or you take your iPhone with you, and when you're out walking the neighborhood, I noticed that you tried to sell your home, or I'm going around to the neighborhood. I think your home is on the market. You know, it's not, I came to talk to you and I'm only talking to you. I'm in the territory and I'm letting them know of services, but wasn't your home on the market like 4 months ago? Yeah, I think I remember seeing it. What happened? Well, would you like to know what's currently going on the market? And you can send them a CMA report right there. You say, well, let me go ahead and send you a report. What's your email address? Great, I'll shoot that over to you right now. When you feel like you've built report. You can have your iPhone right there. If you have your iPad, turn your hotspot on and go to the Matrix, go to your CMA and literally send them a report. By you doing that, you just collected their data without even asking for it. You can tell them, would you like me to send your report? If that doesn't work, because that's kind of getting thrown around a lot right now, would you like me to send you marketing material as far as what I do to sell homes? So if you decide to sell your home in the future, you can get an idea of what technology is out there right now. Would you like me to bring that by tomorrow, or would you like me to email it to you? Great. And as things change in your neighborhood, would you like to be contacted? Would you like me to mail anything to you? I'd love to earn your business. What's the best way to communicate with you? Great. Or I can send you a great app from King's Mortgage. What's your cell phone number? And I'll shoot you this app. It has everything about loans and interest rates. You can check, you can check all that information. That's what King's Mortgage was talking about. And what's cool about that is because you texted to them, you now can get their phone number. So have that in your arsenal ready to go. I also have a program to be able to give you lending information on what's going on in loan rates and different programs in the lending world. Would you like that information? Cool, I'll text you over the app. These are all little things to just get more data.
It was 10 pages.
What's that?
It was literally 10 pages of do not call stuff, right?
Yeah, that's why it's that important.
Yeah.
It's that important. Like, it's a $10,000 fine.
Yeah.
So we double check when you call people. Okay, so that's all I have as far as expireds and FSBOs. Thursday is the launch of the new CRM. That's the day I'm going to give usernames and passcodes, and you guys can decide if you want to use it or not. I'm having some fun with it. I think it's pretty cool. That's where you're bringing this data back and you're putting your stuff in there, and that way now you have a follow-up system and you're giving yourself some tasks every day. The goal is like, you got to pick 1 day a week that I'm going to build a campaign, and then I'm going to execute the campaign, and then I'm going to follow through, and I'm going to be done with the campaign on this month, on this day. Usually they should only be like 3 to 4 days at most. If you're dragging a campaign on for 2 weeks, you're getting in your own way, and you need to just figure out what's holding you back, because there's some sort of fear that's stopping you from actually executing it. You're making up excuses to get in the way to do the work that needs to be done. So it's 1 day of thinking of your campaign, and then I'm going to launch it. And this is the target I'm going after, and this is how I'm going to go after it, and then I'm going to do it. And I guarantee you're going to be nervous, and it's going to be shaky the first time, but you just got to get past that and do it. Even if you knock on the door and they answer and you forget what to say, at least you knocked on the door. So the next time, you'll knock on the door and actually say something. So expireds and FSBOs this week. If you're game for that, expireds and FSBOs. The biggest thing is just starting to make the calls. Try to make the calls, because you'll hear the crackle in your voice. You got to get past that. You got to get comfortable making the calls. And then once you do, when you make the real good calls, or you're talking, the more calls you make, like, Noah's starting to get really good on the phone. You can hear it. Because he's starting to do a lot of calls. He's done a lot of calls to get to this point. So it takes that type of effort. Questions, comments, concerns, input, suggestions? You got? Trina, you got anything?
It does take a while to find expired and physicals, so like cross-reference everything and get contact information. And it was like a week ago or something, we were looking at expired.
Yeah, we were making calls, we were making calls, like we were all, not the builders, the renters.
And stuff like that too.
So you start finding, oh, I'm getting hit with a lot of renters. Well, then maybe your campaign needs to shift. Well, I've gotten all this renter information now, so I need to start focusing my campaign over to renters because all these people I've called are all renters. Let's call the renters back, or let's send some marketing material for renters and design that wide rent you can buy. And their biggest hurdle is either going to be I can't afford it or I'm in a lease. So how do we get past those hurdles? Yeah, I can't afford it. I can't get a loan for it. Well, what if I found you, what if we got to get you hooked in with a lender to find out where you're at, because if they don't start making the game plan now, their credit's going to be the same as it is now in a year from now. So let's work towards getting your credit better. And again, that goes into your future pipeline. But at least you're following up with, cool, how have you been doing with the lender? How's the credit coming along? Were you able to pay that credit card bill off? Where are you at? And you're just kind of staying on top of them that way.
David.
Yeah.
I think my biggest challenge with expires was trying to track down their contact information. And it was, I know you mentioned just trying to look it up by, what were the websites again? Just doing white pages and.
Pages, Spokio, Mojo. So at the end of the day, if you can't find a phone number, what are you going to do?
Go knock on the door.
Yeah. You can't go wrong because you have the address. So you can always find the contact information. It's behind that door. You got to knock on it and ask for it. That is ultimately, I think, the best way to work expireds because it's going to be. It might not be the most efficient. Like I'm getting 2 hours a day and I'm making my calls, but it gives you a start. And if you consistently do that every week, whether you're jumping around from territory to territory, you will build a campaign, a farm list of numbers and names that you've gotten while you've been out in the field. And while you're knocking on that door about expireds, why don't you knock on the neighbor's door because you're there anyway. And now I've given myself a plan of action of I'm going to knock on 10 doors. One I know for a fact is an expired, and 10 of them I want to learn about. And now you have 2 campaigns going and you're taking 2 birds in one stone. If you go out and door knock, that's how you can't just go to one property and be done with it. I might as well hit that, utilize your time and do it for the neighborhood. And you're trying to, when you get that data and you get the follow-up information, you just need to make sure you categorize them. I got this from door knocking, this is an expired, I got this from door knocking, and this is a potential future. But each of them should always have a pop by every 3 months once you build that campaign. Every 2 months, however aggressive you want to be. And that's where your really good clients are getting mason jars with apples in it. And your semi-okay clients are getting magnets or something that's not as expensive and time-consuming. Yeah. So that would be my recommendation. You take one day and try to cross-reference your campaign. And if you just don't have phone numbers, then you know that your campaign is going to lead you to door knocking.
Yeah, I got lucky. The first expired I knocked on, I sold that house.
The first expired. There's a success story. Tell that story.
I had, it was Kristen Crabtree's listing, and it expired, and couldn't find the contact number, so I went, that was my first door that I knocked on. Then I had a buyer that was looking in the area, and was she interested in relisting? Well, why don't you just get a relist with Kristen? And brought my buyer back and did it my house.
I've used this line because if you don't have a buyer, don't say you have a buyer if you don't have a buyer. Yeah, she had a buyer, so. I've used this line to get a listing is I can't get buyers to call my phone if I don't have a product to sell. Give me an opportunity to have a product to sell and my phone will ring. When my phone rings, I'm able to bring you, because they're going, well, why should I list with you? Just bring me a buyer. Well, let me stop you there. I can't bring you a buyer unless my phone rings. No one's going to call me if I don't have a product to sell. I need your product. Your house is my product. I need your product to sell so my phone rings so I can bring you a buyer. Give me an opportunity and let me do my job. I mean, I've used that and that works all day long. They always hit you with, well, just bring me a buyer. Yeah, I'm interested in selling, but I don't want to list anymore. Bring me a buyer. Well, why don't you want to list? I don't want to have people come through my house and this and that. Okay, well, let me just at least have an opportunity to get my phone to ring. And then when I have a buyer, I can bring it to you. But no buyer is just going to randomly call me out of the blue without having a product they see online that I'm selling. So if we don't want the showing instructions, because we can tighten up on the showing instructions, but let me at least get a product. This is a down the road hurdle. You don't have to address that right now. You need to get the listing, and then your phone will start ringing, and then you're like, hey, I got a showing. Well, it's not good for me. Hey, Mr. Seller, ultimately we got to get these buyers into your house to find out if they want to write offers. That's the second conversation. You don't need to fight that battle when you're first still trying to get the listing. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so FSBOs and expireds, make a game plan, give yourself a deadline, check back. I'd love to get a text message on Friday to tell me how many you've gotten. But this is a game plan. Pick different territories, go outside the county. At the end of the day, I just want to see you try to do your research so you finish up your research and go, wow, this isn't as hard as I thought it was. And then figure out a territory. Everybody pick a neighborhood. This county is big enough, pick a neighborhood and say that is the neighborhood I'm focusing on. And then target that neighborhood online to see if that has expired or if anything's expired recently. Go back 6 months from now. All right?
Hey, Trilogy's mine.
Trilogy's there. Yeah.
What after Trilogy?
So I went to the escrow 101 yesterday with First America.
Yes.
And they have a new thing where it's like an app that they have, or First AM.
Okay.
And it tells you who's owning, who's living in it as the owners, and who rents, and whose investment. And you can just, circle the area, and it tells you.
Okay, so I don't want to overstep your campaign that's already in your head. So do that as your campaign. At the end of the day, pick a campaign and tell yourself, I'm going to get 20. I am going to personally talk to 25 people from now until Friday. I don't care if it's expired or if it's closed. I mean, at the end of the day, people are people. That if they all have a roof over their head, that's a product. Like, those are your leads. So find one, 25. Is that what we picked? It was 20, huh?
10.
10?
10, 20.
10. All right, we're going 25. 25 people. 25 people by Friday.
Now we didn't
That's
say
like
10 to 25, we said 25.
25 people by Friday. That is, what is today, Tuesday? So it's 5 new people plus a bonus.
That's a bonus.
Plus a
Who
bonus.
doesn't like bonuses,
Who doesn't
right?
like bonuses? You got 5, 5, 5, throw a bonus of 5 in there. You're good. 25 new people.
Okay, all you have to do is like 2 streets, man.
I know it's simple, but not a knock, a face-to-face conversation. 25 people. And it is not considered a conversation if you PM someone on Facebook and they say thanks. That is not a conversation. It has to be a real estate conversation like, thank you so much, and then you respond back, so, or they ask you a question and then your dialogue. That's a conversation. But this is a campaign of you getting out into the public and talking to someone. 25 business cards a day would get you your 25 conversations. If you just are shy and you just want to go and hand it out.
5 a day, but 25 a day.
You run into a lot of people.
I do.
Mm-hmm. If you're going and picking up your kids at school, how many people do you talk to while you're there? Okay, well, they get 5. And make it that the conversation reverts back to real estate somehow, and wear that name badge. You gotta wear the name badge. And don't wear your sweater to cover the name badge.
Where's yours?
So what do you do? Again.
What do I do?
Yeah.
I do this because I've been doing this for long enough to where I don't have to do that anymore. But I have stories and yada 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 and experience of everything that you guys are all doing it. I eat, breathe, sleep this stuff. So whether I need to tell myself I'm going to have conversations, people don't want to talk to me because all I talk about is real estate when I meet with them. They already know that we're going to talk about real estate when they come talk to me. That's the level you end up getting at.
That's how I feel like my friends feel.
Yeah, and they will. But then they'll respect that. Like, ultimately, they'll be like, that's when they start coming to you, is because they see you that you're so involved in what you're doing, you so love what you're doing, that when they need that service, they know to call you. Because you've been training and getting educated and educated and educated, that they'll run questions by you because they just don't know. But if you don't talk about your business, if you're not out promoting, then you're dying in your business. You know, think of it as any company. If it's not out promoting itself, then people forget about it and it moves on. You are a walking billboard for your company. So, yeah, talking, walking. I mean, that's why I got the shoes, so I didn't have to wear the name badge. Yeah.
Shoes.
Shoes started getting tight in there at the embroidery shop. Converse are real like narrow. And,
Converse are narrow.
yeah, I'm making my toes go like a point right now. It's totally changing my. I have this duck walk. It's changing the whole way I walk right now. Okay. Good?
Thank you.
Good, thank you.
25.